Luxury real estate in 2025 is booming because luxury home buyers are now paying cash for their properties, and the reason is because the interest rates are too high. But how is that possible while the average American is getting laid off, drowning in debt, and barely able to afford rent? Something doesn't make sense. Luxury home buyers are dropping millions of dollars in cash, skipping the banks, and meanwhile, your neighbor just lost their job and your grocery bill is up 20%. Today, we're gonna talk about what's really going on and how the rich keep playing a different game than the rest of us. So let's look at the data. So a brand new report from Coldwell Banker shows that over 50% of luxury homes are now being bought in cash. That's a massive jump, right? And why? It's because the mortgage rates are still hovering around 6.8 to 7%. So the ultra wealthy, they're just skipping the entire system and buying the houses completely in cash. They're not impacted by interest rates and they're not waiting for rate cuts. Something interesting. They're buying $5 and $10 million homes like they're grabbing groceries. It's insane. Meanwhile, on the other hand, layoffs are rising in retail, tech, and logistics, especially due to AI. Credit card debt is at an all-time high, and home affordability is at a 38-year low for everyday Americans. Absolutely insane, right? The difference between the ultra wealthy and the average. It's just crazy. So the real question is, how the hell are they so insulated? What are they doing with their money? How are they investing? We want to learn from these ultra rich people, okay? We don't want to bash them. Let's learn from them so we can become ultra rich so that we can buy houses cash. Well, it seems like everything is burning to the ground. We can go buy our $10 million penthouse or house completely cash, right? So why the hell are they so insulated? Number one, they don't rely on a W-2 income, okay? That's probably the biggest one, is that they've actually taken the risk and taken the chance on themselves to leave their W-2 income, to leave their W-2 job in order to make money from multiple different avenues, which we'll get into a little bit, right? They don't rely on this W-2 income, and they've actually taken the jump and taken the risk from stepping away from the W-2 rat race in order to go and make money elsewhere and have multiple different streams of income. Second, they don't rely on financing. All right, they've already built up assets, and in times like this, they deploy those assets while everyone else is trying to survive. The cool thing about being the ultra rich is that you get to take loans and take mortgages against your assets. So if you go and buy assets and you buy assets cash, like a luxury home or stocks or an investment property, you're later able to actually get financing against that asset instead of getting a financing against an asset that you're trying to buy at that moment. Right? So you can go and buy things cash, and especially the stock market's a big one. A lot of them get lines of credit on their stock market, and they get like 50% loan to value on the stock market, and they're able to take that cash, it's kind of like a line of credit, and able to use that cash to go and buy these luxury properties. That's my inclination on kind of how they're doing it. So they'll have $20 million in stocks, they'll get a $10 million line against the $20 million in stocks at a 5% interest rate. They'll use that money to then go and buy the luxury home because it's at a 5% interest rate instead of a 7% interest rate. You see what I mean? So they're able to kind of take the assets that they have, but they have assets. They don't have W-2 income and they have assets. So how can you copy this model? How can we make you not rely on a W-2 income, but rely on assets to live? That's what we have to figure out for you and for yourself, okay? When rates go up, the middle class families stop spending, okay? Because it affects them the most. The ultra rich, they see opportunity, they see discounts, and they buy when others can't, right? Because they have assets that are producing an income no matter what the hell happens. Right? And because of those things, they're able to deploy the capital when people are losing their jobs and they see an opportunity. They already have assets that pay them. Assets pay you in the morning, at lunchtime, and at night, and while you're sleeping every single day. Your W-2 income doesn't. Your W-2 income pays you 9 to 5. So the other hours of the day, we have to figure out how we can go out there and build up some assets for you to become rich. So how do they keep getting richer, right? And here's how the game is rigged. They hold assets that go up with inflation, real estate, stocks, and businesses. They borrow cheap when they need to with secured loans and not credit cards. This is a big one. The middle and lower class, they just use credit cards for everything. They don't use secured loans because they can't get a secured loan because they don't have any assets. So if we had the assets, we can get a secured loan against the asset, which would be at a lower interest rate than a credit card, which is just based off your credit score, okay? They buy in downturns when the media has everyone frozen in fear. This is a big one. And again, they also have the ability to make decisions during downturns because they do have assets that they can take loans against. They do have assets they can like leverage against versus everybody else, they just have their W-2 job and their 401k, which they don't want to touch because they get heavily taxed on that, right? They pass on wealth tax efficiencies, trust, depreciations, step-up basis. That's for another video. They avoid the rules that trap most people, like relying on one job or waiting for a raise. Again, biggest thing with the ultra rich is they don't have a W-2. Even if you go and quit your W-2 job today and you go start buying rental properties or start a service-based business, you would be in a better position than if you had your W-2, because you would learn the skill of making money. And if you learned the skill of making money, you wouldn't have somebody else have to pay for your, your job, your groceries, your car every single month. You would have the skill of going out there and being able to survive on your own. And that would mean no matter what's going on with the market, no matter what's going on with the cycle, you're able to go out there and make money instead of relying on a job. Especially in the age of AI, it is probably one of the easiest times to ever start a business. You can start an LLC, EIN, and a bank account for $100 online. Then you can have ChatGPT. You can just talk with ChatGPT for hours and hours and hours and come up with a dozen business ideas that you can start offering to friends and family and coworkers, right? And you can start that side hustle today. Okay, and you can take that money from that side hustle and start investing it into real estate, single family homes, multifamily properties, all that kind of stuff. All right. The cash buyers in real estate right now, they're not geniuses. They're just playing a game most people don't even know that they're in. And because we've all been taught and trained that you need to rely on a job and you need to wait for a raise, and this is how you ask for a raise. And that's the kind of content that most people are consuming. How do I get a better job? How do I apply for more jobs? How do I do this? How do I do that? Right? Now, before we go into my take, I wanted to show you some of the articles too, like more luxury home buyers paying with cash this year, right? More luxury home buyers paying with cash this year. Over half of the surveyed Coldwell Banker specialists said there's been an uptick in buyers using cash. Let's check out this headline. Luxury housing market remains resilient despite economic uncertainty. Cash remains the dominant method of luxury home transactions. Just insane. And then I saw some of these about San Francisco where I grew up. AI boom fuels surge in San Francisco luxury housing market. This is just a couple days ago. More homes sold over 20 million in San Francisco than any previous year on record. The Bay Area's high-end real estate had cooled following the pandemic, but now seeing renewed demand. Fucking insane. Manhattan's luxury housing market just had one of the best Junes on record, led by a $20 million condo deal in Billionaires Row skyscraper. It's just crazy. So with all this going on, you can't hide from the data and hide from the facts. Like, there is so much shit going on, and more rich people are buying the fucking houses that they want to buy with cash. It's crazy. So you're in the wrong game, right? Like 99% of us are in the wrong game. We have to think like the 1% so that we can make those decisions when everybody else is like, shitting bricks and not sure what's going on if they're going to lose their job to an AI robot. And these guys are buying $20 million penthouses in New York cash, okay? So my take as an investor, as someone who buys real estate for a living, I can tell you this. These buyers are not emotional, they're just strategic. And the amount of 9-to-5ers that I meet on a daily basis that are thinking emotionally is a very, very high percentage. And it's sad because I'm a very, very emotional person, and I try to explain to people how they need to spend their money, how they need to invest their money, where they should be investing. You should be investing in a multifamily property. You should partner up with me to buy an apartment building. You should buy rental properties. You should do this, do that. Invest in the stock market, invest in the S&P 500, invest in this. And they're just so emotional about their situation, or they just don't believe in themselves. They don't believe in themselves they don't believe in themselves to quit their job, to go do what they should be doing, what they enjoy doing, to take the risk, take the plunge. They're just thinking about it very emotionally, like, oh, what's my girlfriend gonna think about that? What's my wife gonna think about that? What if I fail? What if my friends make fun of me? It's better just to keep my $200,000 a year job, and so be it. You're gonna be stuck in that rat race forever. They're locking in prime properties at a discount, avoiding interest rates, and getting instant equity. This is another big thing too, like that we can kind of learn from the ultra rich, is that they're getting these properties at a discount because they're paying for cash, and also that market has kind of softened. So it's a great time if you go into the luxury market right now and you buy like something that used to be 30 million, you buy for 20 cash, and get a line of credit from your stock market portfolio. Like, that's a pretty damn good deal right now to go and get some instant equity, make 10 million bucks You just got to hold it for 5 years, 10 years for the rates to drop. Hey, there we go. They'll refinance later with it when the rates drop. That's the kind of game that they're playing, and they probably just have a lot of cash on the sidelines. They're like, hell, if I got cash on the sidelines, I might as well buy a luxury badass house that I can live in. I'm going to get it $10 million under, so I'm paying 60% of its value, 60 cents on the dollar, and I can buy that property, hold it for 5, 10 years, wait till it goes up, and I can refinance it later, I can sell it later, all that kind of stuff. All right. Most buyers are sitting on the sidelines waiting for rates to fall, and these folks are getting the best deals right now. And this is the same, not just with luxury, but this is also the same for, I had another video came out a couple days ago talking about just the amount of home sellers right now, the amount of sellers versus buyers. It's a buyer's market right now. And what are most 9-to-5ers doing that want to get into real estate? They're still sitting on the sidelines because they might lose their job. They might have this, they might do that. It doesn't matter. It's time to get into the game. It's a buyer's market. It's the best time to buy in years. Yes, interest rates are a little bit higher. So be it. It's time to go out there and buy some shit. So the irony is that most people wait for the green light to buy, but the green light never comes. This is what happens with literally 99% of people. I have this story. I think I told it before. There's this guy from Google that I used to meet up with in LA, in Venice. I met up with him every year for 5 years straight. He still hasn't invested in real estate. In the meantime, in that 5 years, when I was 10 years younger than him, I flipped 400 houses and made $4 million. And he still hadn't bought the first property because he was waiting for the best time. And he had a Google job. He had way more money than me. Way more money than me. Meanwhile, the wealthy bought during the red light. In a few years, they'll be sitting on even more equity. So hope this video was helpful. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully you take some of this advice and go out there and start investing in something. Please, today, go buy something. Go invest in something. Go do something with your capital that takes your money from your W-2 and creates assets. Go and buy some assets today. See you on the next one.